Welcome to the Dean Smith Center, where tonight on display it's North Carolina Super Six. 6 superb athletes who at times exhibit superhuman qualities. Their foe tonight, the Iron Five of Princeton. Poised, determined, and undaunted. An undefeated showdown next. Surprising, the Smith Center filled to capacity as usual. Number 20 ranked Tigers of Princeton come calling against the second ranked Tar Heels of North Carolina. 7-0 Princeton undefeated against the Tar Heels, who are 9-0. Hello everybody, Ron Franklin along with Dick Vitale, and welcome to the Saturday evening telecast here in the ACC. And we knew there was going to be a big ball game because of 2 undefeated teams, but with the thing that happened this afternoon in Michigan with Duke getting knocked off, if Carolina wins and goes to number 1, Dick, never has a rookie coach taken his team to the number 1 spot in the nation. That would happen to Bill Guthridge tonight.
I'll tell you one thing, Ron, we got to give a salute to the Wolverines of Michigan. Charles Woodson, Heisman Trophy, and that big win over Duke. They played brilliantly in that second half, and it made a lot of North Carolina fans that were smiling today when we entered the building. But I'll tell you one thing, they have reason to smile. They got a Super Six. When you talk about their starting lineup, they have to develop some depth. We know that Jamison will be a candidate for Player of the Year with LaFrentz and Pierce. And Shammond Williams is one of my favorites. He makes big shots, baby.
Well, as far as Princeton is concerned, Bill Carmody, second year, 24-4 last year. Extremely impressive. Off to an undefeated start this year. Everybody talks about the system, Duke. But it is not the system. You got to have players to make that work, Dick.
Well, you better have players to get the offensive efficiency that they get. And they got some talent that can play at a lot of big-time schools. We talk about their center, Goodrich. He sets screens, does all the little things. And his screen now, as we see the high post screen, he steps out and creates the opening for Jamie Mastaglio, the Italian dynamite guy. He can shoot the rock, and he knocks down the trifecta. Hey, when you talk Earl and you talk Llewellyn, they can flat out shoot the 3. They made 167 as a combination last year, the most by a duo in America.
Something's got to give, huh?
Yeah.
7-0 against the home team, 9-0. We'll be back with the opening tip-off in just a moment. Another All-American candidate. We'll be right back.
ESPN's presentation of NCAA basketball is brought to you by Mercury. Go ahead, imagine yourself in a Mercury.
Well, number 20 ranked Princeton in town to take on North Carolina, and the system against the Fab Six: Earl, Henderson, Mastaglio, Llewellyn, and Goodrich. The starting 5 for head coach Bill Carmody. And for Brian Earl, well, you could look quickly and see that he takes more 3-point attempts and hits a higher percentage at 3 than he does at 2. And for Bill Guthridge and his North Carolina Tar Heels, Williams, Carter, Okalaja, Jamison, and Jai. And Williams starting tonight. Cota, they rotate. Williams leads the ACC in assists. So let's tip it off here. Steve Goodrich, the 6'10 senior out of Philadelphia, to jump it up against Vince Carter, the 6'7 junior out of Daytona Beach. In the air, Princeton has the basketball.
It's interesting to see the kind of defense. We're seeing man-to-man defense right now by North Carolina. Watch the high post screens. They try to keep the lane open for cuts, backdoor cuts, and look at the flare out and shoot the 3.
Inside to Goodrich, and the running hook, he's got it.
I'll tell you, you don't see that shot anymore. See some full court pressure by Princeton right here. On a little trap. A half-court trap. Oh, nice post up.
Knocked away. Nice job defensively. James Mastaglio.
Good recovery right there. 26 games in a row they have won. Bill Carmody in a regular season. The last loss was to North Carolina. And that game was close, Ron. It was a 3-point game with 1:14 on the clock.
31-4, his record in the year, and just a portion.
They're zoning right now. Come out of the man-to-man, a little matchup zone.
And a travel called against Carter.
I think what happens a lot of times, teams psychologically, as you watch Bill Guthridge sitting on the sideline with his Carolina people in terms of Hanners and Ford and Sullivan, who have a passion for that uniform. I think teams psychologically hear so much about that Princeton system, they get a little lethargic.
Interesting in talking to Carmody about that today, and he said too many times the system gets credit and not our players, and he said all of our players could have gone somewhere else to play.
Yeah, a lot of these kids had middle major or high major offers. There's the three.
Jai comes down with the rebound. Interesting to watching the shoot around today, Dick. They work on the three first, and then they work on everything else.
Well, they shoot it so well, and they really get great execution. If you're North Carolina and you're playing against Princeton and you got some great athletes, you want to be able to get a high-tempo game. There's Bill Carmody, 14 years. He sat on the sideline under Pete Carell. Petey now down in Sacramento, working as an assistant, and the head man down there in terms of running the club is Jeff Petrie, a former great Princeton player.
Carmody, a graduate of Union, 1975. 2-0. If you just joined us, almost played 2 minutes. Too hard up the back iron by Williams, and Okalaja comes away with a rebound.
Tempo so important in a game like this. You want to create tempo, a fast pace if you're North Carolina.
Jai, nice job of catching the basketball, and a whistle and a foul inside. Tonight's officials, John Kyle, Din Kyle, they are brothers, and Joe Vigna, they are out of the Ivy League.
Hey, how many times do we got brothers working together? Got Cal, the two Cal brothers, unbelievable. John and Din, that's a rarity.
It is. And what else is a rarity is their name is spelled C-A-H-I-L-L, but pronounced Kyle.
Actor Jai did a solid job up in that Great Alaska shootout that they won. Jamison was the MVP, but Jai played so effectively inside, especially when UCLA had to go to a small lineup when J.R. Henderson got in foul trouble. Watch UCLA. They're ready to make a run when they get Jelani McCoy.
Out of bounds, going to stay with North Carolina. Jai, by the way, celebrated a birthday yesterday. Dick asked him if we were warming up there how old he was. He said 45.
Yeah, he said 45. Said, come on, I know you're only 32. I was teasing him. That's a great kid. Loves it here at North Carolina. Started at Wake Forest, then went to Michigan. What a game today by Michigan. College basketball. Wacky. That's what makes it so special, though.
Hard to predict it, isn't it?
Well, that's what makes it special.
Tired of his bingo roll, in and out of the tip, won't go, and on the follow, here comes Princeton.
You know, Princeton's hoping to just at least neutralize them on the glass. Princeton not a great rebounding team. In fact, they've been out-rebounded statistically if you look at their numbers this year. There's that patience. They move the basketball, poise, patience, execution.
The three, counted, Lou Ellis, and then high pick.
Yeah, it comes off the high pick. Lou Ellis, as I said earlier, Earl last year had 137 between them.
Running jumper, Jamison can't get it. The follow not there, and the tip inside. Jai can't get it. Jamison with another offensive board, and they score.
What a great effort by Jamison. Tenacity. He's got the long arms. Awesome on quad. Jamming Jamison. He's got great legs. He's the Spalding man. He's like that rubber ball. Just keep bouncing about. Look at this drive.
Mitch Henderson drives the lane unattended. He's takes it up to score 2.
Man, he's got great quickness. He's very quick. There's that trap. I'm surprised they're coming out pressure.
Henderson, the quickest guy on this Princeton team, and the turnover against Carolina. It's the second. You mentioned rebounds a moment ago. Lou Ellis leads Princeton in rebounds with 36. North Carolina has 5 guys on their team that have 36 or better rebounds.
That's incredible. That's why shot selection is so important to them, and converting is so important. There's the cut through off the high post. Goodrich is like the best in the Ivy League as a post player. Now he's going to try to post inside. Look at him, make himself big and available. Nice backdoor cut.
And they got it, and they'll go to the line. As Mastallo doing a great job, and what a fine pass to set it up.
What a great cut to the goal. As Bill Guthridge, he said, heck, they're great to watch play, but they're not a team you'd really want to play. As we're going to take the high post, now we're going to watch the cut. Here it comes, the back, freeze it, right here. See the backdoor cut? Coming right behind the defender. Right behind the defender. There's the cut. Great movement without the basketball.
Good. Then he misses the free throw. 9-2.
Pace of this game exactly the way Princeton would like it to be. Last time they beat North Carolina was 1967, when Carolina was number 2 in America.
Shammond Williams knocks it down to his first 2.
Beat him 91-80 in that game. In their backcourt was an AD. Gary Walters played. Had a guy on their team by the name of Chris Tomford. And a guy named Eddie Hummer, John Hummer's brother, who was a great player at Princeton. He was only a freshman that year. And then Carolina beat him in the regionals in '67. Look at him make shots.
Henderson knocks it down. 4 points for him in the early going, and 11-4 for the Tigers.
There's that 1-2-2, trying to get in a trap and then drop it back after the pressure. Henderson's got superb quickness. He was drafted by the Yankees out of Culver Military Academy. Playing man-to-man right now. Goodrich does a good job of post defense.
Shot clock is now at 11 and down to 10.
Now they're matching up. And with Goodrich on Jamison. Oh, yes.
Carter, and a chance for a three-point play.
Vince Carter's one of those kids who's Mr. Electricity. He's Mr. Excitement. He's got the great bounce. He's explosive on the baseline. He's a great baseline player. When they flip it up to him, here it goes. They got the eye contact. Shammond throws it up and away. Jam City. Vincent Cota, Daytona Beach, Florida.
So there's a timeout. Let's take it with him. 15:21 left in his opening half. Princeton by 4. Well, 11-7. Princeton has jumped out on top. And let's talk about movement away from the ball, Dick.
Well, we're going to watch right now the kid Henderson. We're going to watch his motion, part of their offense. There he is, goes through the defense. Now he's going to curl back out. He has the basketball. Now he passes and goes through. Now he drifts away, and he drifts wide open for the little jump shot. He was also an outstanding quarterback. He was a rollout guy, superb quickness. In fact, Coach Carmody says the quickest player maybe he's been associated with.
Well, you know, Dick, last year he really turned it on at the end of the year. The last 12 games, he was 61% in field goal attempts, which is extremely warm, as we know. And speaking of Princeton, 5 of 6 in the early going. North Carolina, 3 of 8.
Well, you know, that's what they had to do, come in here and really make the high percentage shot right out of the gate. And Kid Earl said, you know, it's a great thrill going to the Dean Dome, but I'm going there to win. After they had beaten Bucknell coming from behind. Bucknell is an outstanding scorer named Holden. He had 21 against him. That's the most anybody scored against Princeton this year individually.
Llewellyn passes up the three-point shot inside to Goodrich.
He's a good player. And look at him with the left-hand hook. He goes right, he goes left. He's reminiscent of years ago, Ron, when George Mikan was hooking. We don't see the hook shot anymore.
4 points for him, a hook with either hand. Jai.
And he really works on a defensive end. They take great pride in their team defense. Scoring defense almost every year they lead the nation. There they are right now. Some people will say, well, that's because they control tempo offensively. Obviously, that helps a little, but they play solid defense.
Tip. And 3 turnovers as Earl got a piece of it and knocked it away.
Earl's brother stopped by to say hello to us. He's a tough-luck player in college basketball from out of Penn State.
Yeah.
Got an ACL injury. Last year was out with a back injury. I hope the NCAA grants him a 6th year. He's a beautiful kid from Penn State.
Yeah, he really is. Still on crutches because of that knee. Llewellyn, three-pointer, too hard off the front iron, and here comes Carolina, and they got numbers.
This is what they have to try to do, but they do a great job, Princeton, in defensive transition. Coach Carmody sitting on the sideline. There's Goodrich now. Look at him against Maktar Jai. Now he's going to go to the lane. Now watch him spin with the left hand. You don't see that shot anymore. I am so surprised that more big people do not utilize the hook shot.
He's had an injured foot. He didn't work out with the team every day this week. Had it heavily taped at practice today. Dick asked him just before the game, how was the foot? He said everything's okay.
Yeah, I like that in a player. Rather than looking to make alibis or excuses and have a built-in excuse if things don't go well. There's that matchup. Playing man-to-man.
Cota with that extreme quickness gets the lead step and scores.
I was teasing him. I said, look at the stats. He's shooting 61%, but in the last 2 games, he was a total of 0 for 5, and that's not Ed Cota. They're in a 2-3 now, but they're going to try to trap out of this. If it goes to the baseline, they'll try to trap. They're in a 2-3, and they'll try to trap out of it. Changes its look. There it is, 2-3. Now it's right in the gap. Great execution.
Henderson now with 6 points as he took the short jumper, but in transition, they get caught. Shammond Williams with the 2.
That's what North Carolina wants to do. They want to play at the Indianapolis Raceway. They want to go at an up-tempo. Princeton wants to play more or less like we're in Times Square and we're congested on Christmas time.
Three-pointer on the way. He's left unattended.
Nice tip back. Look at the intelligent play right there. Tipping the ball back. Try to get in the gaps of that zone like they did in a previous possession. They get that motion against that zone. They get a lot of movement. See the cut through? Tough pass there, though.
Save. No. Princeton. They keep it alive. Shot clock is at 12, and they got time to reset. Almost stolen. Now, 6 seconds down to 5, and the pass, 3 seconds on the clock.
The last loss they had was to Cal in the NCAA tournament, lost by 3, 55-52. And remember, these kids have a lot of big wins. They won a lot of major tournaments in terms of the last few years. Bill Carmody was telling us, hey, these kids can play. And he's right. They can flat out play. It's not just the system.
He stepped on the sideline, so it's turnover Princeton. Yeah, there's no question about that. 2 turnovers against Princeton. The interesting thing also about the fact the way they play defense, Dick, and you look at their stats, they've only had 1 disqualification the entire year. Only 1 guy is fouled out. So cheap fouls are not really a problem.
Well, they don't foul in their defense, and that's an effective team defense when you don't put people on the free throw line. That's some great early wins this year.
Vince Carter called for an offensive foul.
You know, they beat Texas earlier in the year, and then they beat North Carolina State. So you got to know that they can play. You don't beat
Georgia
teams.
also.
Did they beat Georgia?
Yeah.
I thought it was Texas and North Carolina State earlier. You may be right. It might have been Georgia. I know it was NC State in the final.
No, you're exactly right. It was NC State.
And it was Texas in the first round.
Yeah.
Georgia was in that tournament. There's that zone. You try to get into the seams and gaps of it. Always looking for the high percentage shot. Always try to make the extra pass. You really can shoot the 3. What an excellent passer Goodrich is for a big player. Nice ball movement. See the extra pass they made it?
2 seconds on the shot clock. Can't get it to go. Carter skies for the rebound for Carolina. Cota, little shake and bake, and has it blocked. As Earl got score the hoop. And Cota with 4.
That is absolutely highlight time. That's Kenny Mayne and Dan Patrick time. I mean, that was unbelievable. That's in the streets of New York. He did that one, baby. Eddie Cota with a little magic.
15-11. And now the crowd stands and really comes to life.
Getting active on a defensive end. Princeton needs a score here to shut down some momentum. With the turnover. Adamoto Okalajo, one of the great role players in college basketball.
Timeout. 10:48 left in his opening half. Cota with a scoop. Princeton's lead has been cut to 2. And Dick, talk to us about the spacing, actually them finding the open space in this Carolina zone.
Well, take a look right here. We're going to see a lot of space in this area here. They want to attack into that area. Now we're going to watch Henderson. Watch. He'll pass the ball. Freeze it right here. See, he's already looking to run a little duck move right into this area here, catch the ball, and have the little jump shot. Now watch. He'll curl right in that area, catch it, and there's the little jump shot. He found the seam and the gap in that zone. Henderson, really excellent player. Moves without the ball exceptionally well, and that's one of their real specialties. Motion without the basketball.
About to go under 10 minutes to play in this opening half, and if you just joined us, the second-ranked Tar Heels trying to find their way against a tough Princeton team, 15-13. Tigers on top.
Chance to be number 1 in the nation, as everybody knows. That stunner from out of Ann Arbor. Michigan beating Duke.
Jamison with the tip, couldn't get it to go, and Haywood slams it back home.
This is a kid I think has to become an important part of their rotation. Brendan Haywood has a lot of potential. You can't teach size like that, Ron. He's got great size, and I think he's going to become a heck of a player for them.
It's one of the things that Carmody talked about today. He said, we can't do a thing about their size. We are disciplined enough to play with them. Goodrich fouled as he goes to the hoop.
Well, you see, there's experience right there by Goodrich, taking advantage of the lack of experience by Haywood. As we're going to watch Haywood now working on the offensive boards, keeping the ball alive at 7 feet, takes it up strong. But on the other end, Goodrich went right at him. And a little drop step, got the inside position, got fouled, and goes to the line. Should be the MVP, this kid this year in the Ivy. Last year's MVP. He graduated from out of Princeton. Princeton was a heck of a defensive player. Sidney Johnson now playing in Italy. And Sidney only averaged 9 points a game, but was MVP in the league because of his great defense.
Goodrich misses that second one. Besides being a good shooter, is a pretty good passer as well.
Excellent passer and does a great job defensively.
So for the first time of the night, we are tied at 15.
Trying to match up out of that defense. They play very physical for a bunch of kids. You look at them size-wise, you wouldn't think that they can match up physically.
Jamison has it tipped away as Llewellyn took it away, and now the steal.
There's an example. They really are very aggressive. They're in your face defensively.
5 turnovers.
I just love the combination of Henderson, Earl, and Llewellyn. They understand how to play. There's a screen that creates the opportunity.
Goodrich outside and off the mark on that one. Llewellyn is the man who hasn't heated up, and he's their leading scorer at 15.5 a game. And a push by Llewellyn inside.
I'll tell you, Ron, in 4 to 7 games this year, they've had to come from behind at halftime to win. You know, North Carolina, as we said earlier, was number 2 in America in 1967. But we take a look at here. Look, Carolina on our mind. Look at Princeton right here. Take a look at these scores here. 38-36. Wow. I mean, all Carolina schools right there. And they got Wake Forest coming up in the Jimmy V Classic. We'll be down there for that, ESPN. Also Clemson, who got beat today by Illinois. Big day for the Big Ten. Today, the Big Ten. Jim Delaney, a former Carolina guy, the commissioners on cloud nine.
Jamison, offensive foul called on him.
See, North Carolina wants to play in transition. That is where they excel. Princeton doesn't allow you to get into transition. If you look at Bill Guthridge, undefeated as a rookie coach. Talk about this guy. He was my diaper dandy of the year last year as a coach. He and Steve Lavin, I gave him that honor.
Tied at 15 as we had 8.5 minutes left to play in this opening half.
North Carolina's done a pretty good job against this defense, not against this offense. Very tough to defend this offense.
Henderson strong to the hoop, and he'll score. Mitch Henderson, 8 points for him.
He was an athlete, drafted by the Yankees out of high school, a quarterback. He certainly play on the basketball end as well.
Whistle away from the ball and a hold. And it's on Steve Goodrich, his second.
There's Henderson making drive, making some sweet music like what, Skip Henderson? I mean, great music, just like Skip. Hey. And there's no doubt academically, these are genuine student athletes. Remember this, they don't get scholarships.
That's right.
Everything's on financial aid. Everything's based on need. Coaching staff does a great job finding kids that want to wear that uniform and get that degree from Princeton.
And that coaching staff understands it better than anybody because they're all Princeton guys.
And I think that's great. Same thing with North Carolina. Have people that really feel the excitement of that uniform. The North Carolina staff is the same. Another steal up high.
Stolen by Earl. Williams comes up quickly and he can't stop it.
What a great job by Earl protecting the basketball. Come out of Shawnee High School. Jamison right now having a tough time against this team defense of Princeton. Those Tigers have had some great individuals over the years, and Will Bradley and John Hummer and Jeff Petrie, and certainly Brian Taylor was always one of my favorites from out of Perth Amboy, New Jersey.
Well, Carter with a good acting job. I think that's Goodrich's third foul. If that's who they call it on.
That's big. That's big.
You bet it is.
That means the kid Rock is going to have to really be a factor here tonight.
So there's a break in the action. 7:21 left in his opening half. Princeton by 4, but their big guy in the middle is going to have to sit for a bit. We'll be right back. 19:15, Princeton on top by 4. Be sure and join us tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern, for Sunday Night NFL. And this Sunday, the Chicago Bears take on Isaac Bruce and the St. Louis Rams. Be sure to join us tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern, for all the action. So Goodrich picks up his third foul, and he has to go to the bench. And the first sub of the night because of that foul is Mason Rocca, sophomore out of Evanston, Illinois. And that's Herbert Goodrich, Steve's dad, who is looking on.
Out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, certainly proud of his son, a 4-year starter. Rocca's going to have to really do a great job now. This becomes a real important moment for Princeton. They got to get some play on the inside. Remember, their 5 starters average better than 30 minutes a player.
That's exactly right. It is a great cohesive unit, but they are iron folks. They go the distance. They've been averaging only about 8.5 turnovers a game. They take care of the ball. They don't get in foul trouble.
Ron, you and I talked about it at lunch. The margin of error for Princeton is very little. They have to almost be perfect making open shots.
No question. No question.
They don't have the same margin of error of the athletic ability and the kind of talent you're looking at there at North Carolina. Beat UCLA 2 years ago in the NCAA tournament. Many of these kids played on that Pete Carell team. They got a hold on Cota.
That's one of the things also that Carmody said at the shoot-around today is that they had to hit at least 50% of their three-point tries.
As we look here at the summary, look at the totals right now, 9 for 14 versus 7 for 15. The whole key is they're not letting Carolina get a lot of transition baskets.
Second foul on Carter, 15 foul on the Tar Heels. About to hit 6.5 minutes left until intermission. Dick, talk again about tempo and what it does to your psyche when you're playing a club like this that is so deliberate.
Well, it really frustrates you when you want to get up and down the floor, and you have to be very, very careful not to try and do it too quickly. You got to play in a patient mode as well. I thought today Billy Packer made a great analysis in that game with Duke and Michigan. Early in that game, Duke was trying to put a blowout on them early in the game rather than be patient and wait and make the extra pass. And I think that's the same thing in a situation playing Princeton. You can't get careless and try to rush the action. You got to make sure it's there.
1-and-1 with that foul on Rocca. It's his first.
You know, what's amazing right now, Ron, you just alluded to earlier about the three-point shot making 50% of them. They are right now up on North Carolina. They're shooting 1 for 5 with three-point range. And that's an amazing number because they live off that three. They've made 66 of them already this year, 45 between Llewellyn and Earl, and they haven't knocked one down yet.
Brad Frederick, junior out of Lawrence, Kansas.
Yeah, Dad, Bob Frederick, one of the great ADs in America.
He is a former head of the basketball committee, in fact, year before last.
Well, did a great job in hiring Roy Williams, a former North Carolina assistant. One of the real Rolls-Royce coaches in the nation. See how they open up the court? They really try to open up that lane for constant motion down the lane, looking for the backdoor cut.
Shot clock at 1. They didn't get it off. Nice job defensively, and the Carolina fans showing their appreciation.
Yeah, North Carolina did a sensational job there defensively as a team. They have really played well defensively against that half-court offense, but they haven't been able to create opportunities on the offensive end. Horizontal screen inside. Jai's got size on the interior.
It's amazing, Dick, when you look at the scoreboard and say 5.5 minutes left, and now Carolina has 17 points, but still for them, that is way below what they are accustomed to putting on the board.
Exactly, and I thought that was a great decision going inside the back guard to take advantage of the size on the interior.
In fact, it's about half of their output, averaging 74 a game.
See, there we take a look from up on high. Look at the cuts down the middle. Watch when they pass, they go away. They tried to jam the backdoor pass there. College basketball, though, the thing I love about it so much, I said it today. I was teaching a class today, Professor Franklin. I was Professor Dickie V. I was teaching Hoopology 401 to a lot of North Carolina kids today, and I said, hey, I'm not Cupcake City. It's not like Duke playing South Carolina State, my class. It's like Duke in North Carolina. You're going to have to earn an A. I gave them all A's when the class was over.
By the way, what level is that? Is it 100, 400, or what? Where is it in the guide?
I had a great time with a lot of the students there.
Drive to the hoop, has the shot blocked.
Back to
Jai. He had a little word for him after he blocked it.
Using his size.
Williams for 3.
He's been a money player for them. When you talk about Shammond Williams, MVP of the region last year in the NCAA, MVP of the ACC tournament.
20-second timeout called by Princeton. Well, Tuesday on the Deuce, it's college basketball Philly style as Temple takes on Villanova.
Wow.
It's 2 of the Big Five squaring off this Tuesday, 7 Eastern on the Deuce.
I'll tell you one thing. You talk about Temple. Bob Knight told me on the phone yesterday they were the most impressive team he played against this year. He said that matchup zone, they do a phenomenal job, and the respect he has for John Cheney. Look at the ACC. What a bad day today. Losing right there to Michigan, losing Clemson at Illinois. Georgia Tech gets beat at Kentucky. Doesn't surprise me there. I mean, it's just been unbelievable. Clemson right now has to get ready for that intrastate rival. I'm going down there on Wednesday at Clemson. South Carolina comes in undefeated. undefeated. B.J. Mackey and Melvin Watson, one of the great guard combinations.
Carolina turning up the pressure. They get the trap, and Princeton holds on to it. They still got plenty of time. 11 seconds, now 10 on the shot.
Locker did a great job in stepping for the ball to keep it alive. They're doing a great job perimeter defense.
3 seconds on the shot clock. He put up a brick, and Llewellyn got banged in the head, and
see, that was one time they didn't get the shot they wanted. But North Carolina doing a super job with perimeter defense.
Rocca picks up his second foul.
You know, I talked about earlier in '67 when Carolina was number 2, and they had Larry Miller, and they had Dick Grubar, and they had a heck of a team, Bobby Lewis, and they lost. They were number 2 in the nation, and they had lost to Princeton 91-80, and that was the Princeton team with the AD, Gary Walters. And then they came back in '67, North Carolina, and beat them in the regionals and went to the Final Four.
Shammond Williams almost lost it, and foul is called on Williams. He can't believe it. Elbow. It's his first. So let's take a break. 3:59 until halftime. Princeton still by 2. Just under 4 minutes left in this opening half, and 19-17 our score. The lowest scoring half for North Carolina this year, 25 against Purdue.
Take a look at John Thompson III. That's right, Georgetown's John Thompson. Let me tell you, he does an outstanding job. John should be so proud of him. I spoke to him today. I mean, you talk about intelligent, and you talk about a great future. This young man has one. And you don't go to Princeton and just graduate Princeton because your father's John Thompson. You got to get it done when you're there, and he got it done. John told me one time, he said, getting an opportunity like I did to play at Providence gave me a chance to influence my kids to get an education. And 2 of his children went to Ivy League schools, his daughter and his son. His daughter graduated Brown.
Shot clock is down to 12 as Carolina has done a much better job in the final 10 minutes of this half defensively against Princeton.
Well, they're doing a great job stepping out on the 3. And you see the offensive foul right there by Princeton. They're getting a little flustered. The last few possessions, that's 2 on him. Harmony can't believe it, but it was a charge.
So now, as we mentioned, the fact that Princeton doesn't get in foul trouble very often, but they are in this one tonight.
Yeah, with Goodrich on the sideline, yeah. Star center with 3 fouls. They don't have
Ellis with 2, and they can't dare have him pick up a 3rd.
He's the only one to knock a 3 down. They're 1 for 7 from 3-point range, and they shoot 40% as a team from 3-point range. And yet they're +2. I mean, that's got to be really a smile on Harmony's face.
Yeah, for sure. Elijah almost has it poked away.
They got to try to get the ball inside the Carter. He's got to get some offensive opportunities. He's too talented.
Well, the scoring for Elijah hasn't scored. Jamison with 2, Jai with 2, 4 for Shammond Williams, 4 for Cota, 3 for Carter, 2 for Hayward.
They did a great job really getting Jamison not to get inside for some high percentage shots.
1 shot and out. Princeton doing a nice job of boxing out inside.
Really impressed with Princeton, and really impressed with the fact of the matter of the way they play the game. Think about it, Ron. How many of these kids would be able to get scholarships at the ACC level? Yet as a team, if you play together as a unit and execute, you can go out and beat people. Nice backdoor cut.
Locker with the pass.
Good.
I mean, just a count late on that one, and the foul on Williams.
They ran another backdoor cut after the first one was negated because of the great execution defensively by North Carolina.
It's 2 on Williams, and it's 17 fouls.
We're going to see a backdoor cut come up right now. We're going to watch a backdoor cut. See, right here. See, there's a backdoor cut right here, going through the back door. There it is. Backdoor because you're going behind the defense. And I'm going to see, there was another one right after that created the opportunity for the foul shot.
9 points for Mitch Henderson.
They shoot 74% on the free throw line. They should dominate this year the Ivy again. Remember, they've won 26 in a row regular season games. The last time they went to the locker room with an L was against North Carolina at Jadwin Gym, where they hold 7,000. And I say shame on you, Princeton students, for not coming out and packing that arena. They only get like 3,000, 4,000 a game. I can't believe it as good as these kids are. They should block that place.
This is Williams with the penetration.
Oh, great play.
Up with the left hand.
He's a star. He is a star. He's no longer a role player. Shammond Williams is a star.
21-19. Princeton. Just under 2 minutes to play in his opening half.
You're looking at a 45-point game to keep this pace, and that's not North Carolina.
As substitutes come into the lineup, one more look at Williams' last two.
Watch Shammond Williams. He can utilize either hand. See, now he's going to shape up for the three. Goes in triple threat position. And there's the little left hand layup in the lane. Triple threat means you can shoot the jump shot from the perimeter. You can drive with the basketball, or you can pass the basketball.
33 for Princeton, Nathan Walton. Sophomore checks into the lineup. And, of course, the son of Bill Walton. Way outside with the three, too hard off the iron, and it's Walton who gets the long carry.
He's really proud of his brother. Told me his brother started his season yesterday, signed with Arizona. Luke Walton, Big Bill, one of the greats of all time. Who can ever forget his performance in '73? 21 from 22 against Memphis State at that time.
Long three, way off the mark, and it is saved. And a new 35 for Princeton.
North Carolina is very fortunate tonight that the trifecta is not tickling the twine.
You're right.
They are really fortunate. But that's a credit to North Carolina with the way they've extended defensively on the perimeter. You got to credit the coaching staff.
Princeton is only 1 of 9 from three-point land tonight.
But they're not getting really open threes, Ron. They're getting challenged on the threes. And that's a Bill Guthridge game plan. See, watch, they always got a hand in their face when they're trying to shoot that three.
Shot clock is at 5. It's at 4. Shot won't go. It's taken away by Princeton Haywood.
Brendan Haywood. I'm impressed with the big. Hold me back. That's awesome, baby. That's incredible. That's unbelievable. Indescribable. Indescribable. They love it. They tied it up. The house is rocking. The house that Dean built.
Tied at 21.
Electricity. Hey, Ron, it is alive. There's bedlam here. Look at the patience, though.
Gonna have to hurry. Under 3 seconds. Blocked. And there is halftime.
You talk about the elevator, man. You talk about the guy that's an elevator guy who can really fly to the sky. You talk about a skywalker. He's up in the sky, baby. Hello. Well, he's going to give a high five to the Goodyear blimp captain. Look at this right here. He jumps like you do, Ron.
We're at halftime, and it is tied 21-all. North Carolina and Princeton. Let's go back to Larry Beal. Larry.
All right, thanks, guys. Halftime might be coming at just the right time for Princeton, but they do hang tough, 21-21 at the half. The halftime report coming up. We'll get you caught up on a huge day in the sports world, and a lot of fans in Michigan today for both football and basketball have got some big news. We'll tell you about the Heisman Trophy and the tractor running wild when we come back.
ESPN's presentation of NCAA basketball is brought to you by Radio Shack. You've got questions, we've got answers. ESPN's presentation of NCAA basketball is brought to you by the new Dodge. It's about change.
Well, as we get set to start the second half of action, that's exactly right. The number 2 team in the nation having a struggle here tonight with the undefeated Princeton Tigers. We are at 21 apiece. Princeton led by as many as 7 in the first half. Carolina never led it, but I think something that's very big. In the final 10 minutes of the first half, Princeton only scored 6 points. So defensively, Carolina really stepped it up.
Yeah, they really did a great job defensively shutting down the perimeter shot. We know that Princeton utilizes the three so effectively, and it was not effective in that first half. We can take a look right up here. You look at the number that have been made. The made is right here. They've only made 1. They made 1 3-point shot from that area. Their scores have been on the interior, but it's been a defensive first half. Both clubs have really played exceptional defense, and when you play on the defensive end, you always have a chance to win. Princeton, it's amazing that they could be on the road, go in at halftime, only score 21 points, and be tied against someone as talented as North Carolina.
No question about it. And as we mentioned just before halftime, the lowest scoring half of the year for these Tar Heels. 25 was the low water mark, and that was against Purdue. 21 first half points.
I think a big stat to watch is certainly Goodrich inside with 3 fouls. I would attack Goodrich and try and get 4 on him.
Jamison, too hard off the glass, can't go. Jamison only 2 points in the first half, and that's something obviously that has to pick up for Carolina.
He was 1 for 5, Ron, 20%, and that's not Antoine Jamison, but that again is the excellent team defense of Princeton, always helping, recovering. There's a three.
Outside with the three. So Brian Earl says, let's open it up with a tray.
I'll tell you one thing, they shoot that trifecta, and you just know it's a matter of time before they can knock down a bunch of those.
You know, Dick, you said at halftime, but I think another point that's really well taken is the drive, and couldn't get it to go. Unlucky. Jamison on the follow. He's got 4 now. But the fact that those trifectas didn't fall in the first half allowed Carolina to be tied at halftime. Otherwise, they could be down by him.
Exactly, but they did a great job. They were responsible in a way for the threes not falling because of a hand in the face. That was an example inside the previous possession of the unbelievable offensive rebounding ability of Antoine Jamison. They're zoning right now. There's a deflection out of the zone by Carolina.
So 14 seconds on the shot clock as we take a quick look at the stats from the first half of play. Field goal percentages, 50% for Carolina.
Wow, take a look right there. That really is a highlight right in that area. The 1 for 9 and the 0 for 2 on that three-point line.
Another trap on the sideline. Cross court, and it's stolen. And the outlet pass. Great job by Carolina as Williams takes it home.
What a great job of reacting to the turnover. A lot of teams will force a turnover, but don't react well. They not only get the turnover, they kick it out. They get the plus for the first time.
You can't cross-court a lazy pass against this quick Carolina team.
Well, they anticipate so well and step in that passing lane. They're like quick, like those defensive backs who were excellent today for the Giants in beating the Redskins. Getting that overload, trying to overload against the zone, looking to get a space inside. They use Goodrich up on top. He's a great passer.
This pass is tipped and is going to be held on to by Princeton. Shot clock is at 3, down to 2, and the three-pointer won't go.
Nice kick out.
A new 35. Wow, that's great hustle by Earl.
The kid Lou Ellis has got to start to look at that 3.
Right, just like Jamison's got to step it up for Carolina. Lou Ellis only had 1 field goal in the first half.
Well, when your team is struggling, the big players got to come up and make the big play. That's why they're PPPs.
Earl not there. Carter skies for the board.
Great job of getting back by Princeton. Oh, they don't stop it. Nobody stops the ball. That's a no-no. They never usually allow that to happen. No one stopped the progress of the basketball. That's what Carpenter was saying there. Somebody's got to stop the ball. Now look at a great look by Cota. He catches it all in one motion, kicks it out to Shammond Williams, and Shammond finalizes and converts. Cota going to the side like it's a tap by Bill Guthridge. Dean Smith not here tonight. Dean, a brilliant tactician. I miss him so much on that sideline. The Michelangelo of coaching, but the guy that replaced him sat there for 30 years at his side.
Amazing.
Could have had a lot of head jobs, but turned them down because of his loyalty and his love for North Carolina and Dean Smith. I told a bunch of kids today, there should be on March 1st for March Madness, synonymous with Dean Smith, a day every year in honor of Dean Smith. He meant so much to college basketball and to basketball in general.
Shammond Williams now with 10 points.
There's that zone right now. Play that zone, but they extend out on the zone against the three-point shot.
Push on Jive.
There's the Princeton staff. Look at Bill Carmody. What a success ratio. There's a look. Petey Carell and Dean Smith, 2 Hall of Famers. Look at those numbers. Wow. And the gentleman on the left with 514 and 13 Ivy titles. Think about it. No full scholarships. Financial aid. And Dean Smith, you simply can say, I think over a 30-year period, what they did was a great role model for every program in America. They won graduated players, and number 3, no NCAA sanctions.
You're exactly right.
Oh, and there's the cut without the ball. They missed them.
Inside 10 in the shot clock. Can't get it to fall, and Jamison is there. Right now, Carolina having their way as they've jumped out on top by 3. First time that they've led in the ball game.
You're only going to get 1 shot in the case of Princeton, and you better convert.
Henderson.
Nice move by Henderson with that superb quickness we talked about. John Thompson III, John's son on that sideline, told me I got to go find me a center. I got to get me a center for next year because they lose Goodrich. And in their case, they don't sign players early because remember, they got to go through admissions, financial aid. It's a whole different ball game.
We're about to hit the 15-minute mark left in this ball game. And this is going to be stolen.
He's got the trailer. He's got the trailer.
Henderson will put it up with the left hand and score.
They do a great job converting off the steal. Jamie Mastalio, another turnover.
Dick, and the one thing you have to also remember, Princeton has won 14 straight on the opponent's home court.
That's incredible when you think about it. And even at home, they don't have a great home court advantage. They don't get that energy from the fans because the fans are not coming out in big numbers. They should have every game sold out, these kids.
Cota, unlucky at a shot, too hard off the back iron, and did he save it? Yes. Nice hustle by Henderson.
You just got to appreciate the art of basketball, the way they play, and that's what Bill Guthridge has said. You don't want to play against them, but you like to watch them play. There's the extra pass. There's the cut without the ball. There's the high post screen.
Willis for three. It's not there.
One shot. You get simply one shot, baby.
Llewellyn with a chilly night so far. He's only got three. And that was early on in the first half.
There's that matchup man.
Williams way outside, won't go. Look at Jameson over the top, and he's going to be called for the foul. The second on him. Princeton leading 28-27, and here's one of the reasons as we go to break. Defense and the way they're playing Carolina. The steal and the free hoop. We'll be right back. Princeton Tigers showing why they're undefeated. They lead it 28-27, and Dick, a great example here of recognizing the cutter on their part.
Here's the cutter right here, and they miss him on his cut. Watch right here. Henderson is going to make the pass. He's going to cut. Freeze it. Right here. He cuts through this area. He's wide open here, but they miss him. Look at him. He's going to cut through. Now watch as he goes through. They miss him. Look at him. He jumps. And now he overloads to the corner. Recognizing that cutter, but see, they're a little bit afraid to make that pass and jam it in like they do against most people because of the quickness and the anticipation ability of the North Carolina defense.
Jameson, by the way, 4 points, 2 of 7 from the field, but he's got 8 boards.
Yeah, he owns the glass. Once they miss, if you're Princeton, you got to knock it down. You're not going to get any easies off the glass. You're not going to get second or third opportunities. They're not going to win too many war on the glass. They're going to be Windex men, I can tell you that. Oh, there's the backdoor cut. Good job defensively by Carter.
Three-pointer counted for Mastallo.
Mastallo, a nice little paisan. They call him Stags. There he is, Stags Mastallo. He's doing a thesis. He told me, he said, I got to call you up and get some information. I can't hang with him. He's Princeton. I can't spell Princeton. I mean, are you kidding me? These guys are all 1,400 SATs.
Almost stolen by the man that Dick's talking about, Mastallo. Too hard up the glass and off the mark. Brian Earl comes down with it.
That was Brick City, USA right there. Eddie Cota had a great year last year as a freshman. Led the conference in assists. Was brilliant. This year has got an assist-turnover ratio of 3-1, which is sensational. Carolina's first time home since November 22nd.
They've been away for a long time.
A lot of frequent flyer miles, over 9,000 miles traveling to Alaska to Chicago for the grade 8.
3 on the way as the shot clock was at 7. Goodrich tries to tip it away, but here comes Carolina.
Again,
Cota.
one shot.
Missed on the timing and a foul underneath. And I think Goodrich has just picked up his 4th.
Try to make that spectacular play on Jameson. There's Cota throwing it up on top.
Mastallo, beg your pardon.
Jamie Mastallo, a great blender. He's one of what I call my all blenders. 5 guys I picked who really blend in so well. We talk about Jensen from Utah. Talk about Travis Conlon down at Michigan. Mastallo. Okalaja certainly in that group as well. Brian Cardinal down there at Purdue. They're just great role players. Crowd is a little flat right now. They make it that way with the tempo of the game.
Well, now the crowd is beginning to ooh and ah a little bit because they're realizing they went up by 3 a moment ago. Once they're down by 4, Princeton has had an answer every time.
Well, this could be Jinx City, USA for the ACC this day. Remember, Georgia Tech got beat, Duke got beat, Clemson got beat.
Williams tips it to Carter.
Uh-oh, they got Jameson.
Good didn't see him in time, and the shot won't go. They block out inside, and the ball goes back to the Tigers.
Yeah, they missed Jameson in transition.
And Jameson wanted a foul as he thought Mastayo ran underneath him.
Bill Guthrie said, you know, Coach, and I didn't realize in a previous tenure I was an assistant, didn't have to do all the media interviews and all the things that go part of the job. And that'll drive you bananas. There they are, overloaded against the zone, trying to put 3 on one side versus 2. So they try to overload it against that zone defense. Spread the court, get great spacing.
Goodrich needs some help. Shot clock is at 13, now at 12.
They use that clock.
Llewellyn couldn't handle it. Turnover, Princeton.
See, that's not Princeton basketball. Speaking about Princeton basketball, the Senator, 1965, Mr. Bradley, 58 in an NCAA Final Four game against Wichita State. They lost to Michigan in the Final Four, and in a consolation, he got 58. And what a hookup I saw him in 64 at a holiday festival, get 41 against Cassie Russell in Michigan.
Jameson took his time, squared away, and couldn't get it to go. Boy, he's had one of those kind of nights. He just looked at the stars.
He said, hey, wait a minute, I'm a star. This is my court. That's supposed to fall.
And he just looked up at the ceiling that time like, when are things going to start going right?
Man-to-man now. They come out of the zone.
6.5 minutes, they haven't scored. This is a 7-0 run by Princeton.
Looking for that backdoor cut off the high post. Watch the high post, and that's who they run off, that high post. Oh, there's the wing back door. Kick it out for the 3.
No, they're not falling tonight. It's tipped ahead, and good anticipation by Henderson.
Well, he's lucky he grabbed that because Jameson was down with a jam.
Yeah, we were about to have another showstopper.
You know, despite the 3 not going down, they're in this game, and that's amazing. More than in it, they're +4. The 3 has not fallen.
Henderson misses the all-alone shot. Mitch couldn't believe it. They were up and going, oh no. Still 31-27. Princeton about to go under 10 to play.
You know, it's hard, people are saying, to get really excited in the defensive battle, not a lot of score, but you can sort of feel the electricity, the intensity, and the tension that's starting to mount here.
Williams.
Look at Carolina right here. Wow.
61-2 against non-ACC opponents.
It's not too bad. That's not too shabby. I mean, you can go places with a record like that, can't you, Ron?
For sure.
Wow.
Gabe Llewellyn, by the way, that's 3 fouls on him now, Dick.
Yeah, Llewellyn has got 3, and so
does Goodrich. Yeah.
This guy's got some record for a coach that's only coached 35 games.
24-4 last year.
Yeah, not a bad record. 25-3 is the best record Princeton's had, and that was back in '67 with Gary Walters and Hummer and Thomford.
Timeout on the court. We'll take it with him. 31-29.
Larry Beal in the studio. Georgia and East Carolina tied at 54, 1.8 to go. Buddy Oliver fouled on the 3 with no time left. Goes to the line, makes one. Game over, 55-54.
Well, our score, Princeton leading 31-29. Dick, back in the first half, you talked about about being a blender. You're all blender team.
And that's a bunch of guys. They're role players. They do all the intangibles. They blend in. I'm talking Okalaja, Cardinal, Conlon, Jensen, and Mastalio. To me, they're such valuable people to their teams, and you can't win without guys like that. You can't have all stars. There's a look at Adamola, Okalaja.
By the way, Carolina averages.
Oh, look at him dropping a bounce pass. Oh, what a great backdoor cut. That's the Princeton Petey Corral.
14 points for him.
You know, Bill Carmody, I really give him a lot of credit. A lot of times guys take a job and they say, let's get away and I'm going to do my thing. He just adopted what he learned from Pete Corral and he's utilized it so effectively.
Carter with the short jumper. He's got 7 now. Carolina averages 5 3-pointers a game, and tonight they're 0 of 3.
Well, you know, when you think about Princeton, they have made every game at least 7 threes. They haven't made anywhere near that yet tonight. Vince Carter in that lane. I love Mr. Carter.
Goodrich not there. Jameson pulls it away.
Jameson holding the glass. Not even being challenged on the inside. Defensively on the board.
Takeaway. And the turnover against the Tar Heels. That is 11 against Carolina tonight. By the way, for Jamison now, 9 boards.
Tempo, tempo, tempo. Here we see that tempo. Motion, motion, cut without the ball.
I think what also happens is you see Goodrich inside with the hook. Not there. Jai altered the shot.
He scored on 2 of those early in the game. Left and right hand, but at that time,
Cota with the left hand.
I tell you, he is so sensational in traffic to be able to hang, use either hand.
Here comes the crowd again as we're tied at 33.
Does Princeton have an answer? The Tigers have an answer. Look at the old ball and ask the Senator to join him. He was one of my favorites. Will Bradley, sensational. There's that motion. Look at the poise, the patience, looking for the high percentage shot.
3, not there. Llewellyn can't, he can't handle it, and then Jamison fouled.
And not a good foul right there by Antoine Jamison. Out of Charlotte, that's 3 on him.
Dick, what I started to say is when you play a team that tempos like this and they don't do a lot of turnovers or fouls, all of a sudden you look up at the clock. We've only got 8:44 left in this ball game, and it seems like the second half just started about 9 minutes ago.
Exactly, and you only got 33 points as a team. You can't believe this. I mean, this is frustration city to a bunch of people that want to run up and down the floor. They're negating the great ability of North Carolina, and make no mistake about it, North Carolina's Super 6 are outstanding. But they're negating it with that extra pass, use the clock, spread the court, execution, execution, patience, patience. There's the cut, there's the cut. That's basketball, my friends. Clinic 101, how to run the backboard cut.
5 points for him now. Llewellyn's first time that he scored in a long time. And an answer at the other end by Cota, who now has 8.
And Cota said, I'll run my own little back door. Dribble penetration, and I'll get back door.
Yeah, he says, let's speed this thing up a little, guys. We're at 7:59 left to play now.
That clock keeps ticking, Ron, as you said so accurately. They spread it. Notice the spacing. Very difficult to give help. Now they go to the zone. That'll try to spot up in the open area of the zone. Carolina changing defenses, multiple defenses. Got the numbers. Great hustle defensively by Henderson.
So let's take a break. 7:38 left in our ball game. We're tied at 35. Knock, knock, knock. Who's at the back door? Nobody. Princeton, you say? Yes. Llewellyn.
What a great cut.
Tied at 35. Dick, let's take one more look at that play a moment ago.
Well, the Clinic 101, a backdoor cut means you cut behind the defensive player. No one executes it better than Princeton. We take a look right here. I want to watch this. We're going to see the great cut by Princeton. Right here. See, he cuts right behind the defense. He cuts behind the defense. Earl makes the great bounce pass, and he drops it in, and there's the cut down the lane. Earl with that pass. His brother Dan is here today on the injured list. There's a look at Dan right here. There he is, Dan Earl. I'll tell you one thing, what a beautiful kid. We met him. He and Lizicki did an outstanding job at Penn State. They're undefeated right now. They're undefeated. He's out with an ACL injury. Was out all of last year with a back injury. And I tough luck kid of the year. I hope the NCAA grants him a 6th year. He deserves it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Tied at 35, 7 minutes, 22, now 21, and counting. Turnaround, not good, but Carter on the follow, scored, and he'll go to the line.
Vince Carter with the big offensive rebound. There's a look of frustration on Carmody. Can't teach what Mr. Carter just did. You could drill all day, but he just went after it, whipped it off the glass, and bounced right back up and squared it on the glass.
Dick, that's 4 on Goodrich. Do you keep him? Do you break him for a second? I think they're going to take him out, it looks like, for just a moment.
Yeah, they'll probably take him out for about a minute or 2 to see how the score goes, but I don't think you can wait a long time because Carolina could go on a quick spurt and put it away. So you're looking at a big possession right now as Goodrich goes out with his 4th foul. The outstanding center. Some say the premier player right now in the Ivy League.
And he's only got 4 points. He's had a difficult night shooting.
He's done a good job screening, but he has not been able to help in terms of scoring on the inside against the Carolina size.
Rocco's the man who comes in replacing him, makes him a sophomore out of Evanston.
Now, if you talk about big possessions in this game, I think this is a big possession. They're down 2, they lost the lead. They got their star player on the sideline. You got to convert, and it'll be a 3 they're looking at.
Not there. Elijah comes away with the board.
See, it's tough for them to get from 6-7 down against a team like North Carolina. They got to come up with some stops here. There's patience right now by North Carolina.
Earlier in the second half, Carolina went on top for the first time, went up by 3, but when Princeton came right back and went on top of the ball game and silenced the crowd again.
Played a lot more man-to-man defense the last 2 years. Pete Carell used to utilize that 1-2-2 zone effectively, especially in the 80s.
Strong to the hoop, not there. Tipped by Llewellyn and then touched last by Henderson, so it'll stay with Carolina.
Pete Carell, when he first came in, played some man, then went to that zone. Bill Carmody utilizing the man-to-man 80% of the time. Has an outstanding staff of guys that played there, and Levy was a heck of a player. Bill Scott from Princeton was a member of the staff, and John Thompson III, who started for 4 years. There's a look at that staff. Second lieutenants. Little John Thompson going into his pad, trying to come out with a play.
You know what's interesting? 2 of those guys on that staff are lawyers. They've already gone through law school.
And they're out of the coach, just like Quinn Snyder. There's the kick out. The big basket right here. If that goes.
That's an air ball, and Carolina's now 0 of 4 from three-point range.
37-35. Less than 6 minutes on the clock. Carolina wins. They are #1 in America. First time, as you said, that a rookie coach.
It also would be the first time since March the 1st, 1994, that the Heels have been in that position.
Here's that zone. Should get a look with the 3 with that extra pass. And taking some time off to get Goodrich ready to come back.
Well, the trees are just not falling for Princeton tonight.
And they were making them in practice. They were knocking down that 3 all day in practice.
3 of 20 tonight.
3 of 20 from three-point range, and they're down a deuce. Can you believe that? If someone would have charted that for you, after looking at their stats, a 40% shooting team, offensive foul, Princeton gets the ball back. I mean, that's amazing. Now, 3 for 20, they shoot 40% from three-point land. Llewellyn and Earl got 45 threes between them. As the post play inside, they get the push on Jamison against Rock on the inside. Jamison said, "This is my house. That's 4 on me. This is my house. They're not supposed to call that. I'm the All-American. I'm on the cover of a magazine."
Anton a little bit frustrated as we get a 20-second timeout. He only has 4 points. 2 in the first half, 2 here in the second half. There's his dad, Albert, looking on.
Great family. Dean Smith told me tremendous love in that family. They played a big role in his development and the character that he has. And he's just a quality young man. There's a look at the Super 6 right now. For the season, what they're averaging. Look what they're right there. Big number right here. We see this one right here. Only 4 points. Only 4 in that area right there for Jamison. Versus 21 a game. Look at that balance. He's got 5 guys averaging in double figures.
And Elijah zeroed so far tonight.
I think if you would have told Princeton they could be 5 minutes on the clock, down 2, shooting 3 for 20, have their star player in foul trouble, they'd say, "We like our shot." Going to a trap, North Carolina came out, changed the defense, went to a half-court trap. Tough to trap this club. They recognize traps. They handle the ball so well. They play almost with 3 people on a perimeter with Henderson, Earl, and Llewellyn.
Rocca back in following a 20-second timeout, so he'll stay for a bit. Left-hander will not go. Rocca battles for it, and we have a foul. That's going to be against Giles.
A little late with that call inside on Maktar. A little late on that call.
3 fouls on him and what, 16 fouls, so not to the bonus yet.
They're not going to get many foul opportunities when you talk about Princeton because they don't utilize the interior a great deal. And when you're a standstill shooting team or cutting as they do for the open layup in their backdoor cuts, you don't get a lot of opportunities on the line. You don't want to stretch that defense out too far. They'd like you to come out against them.
Haywood prepares to check in on the floor, and Jamison stolen and then taken back by Mastallo.
Mastallo's just a solid player. Oh, there's the turnover there. He's dangerous. He's dangerous.
And Henderson did not judge his speed well enough, and he gets the easy 2. 14 for him, and the largest lead by Carolina on the night. 4.
This is a must possession right here. This is a must possession. Great move by Shammond Williams to finalize using his right hand. They got to get a deuce here. They're going to bring Goodrich in. They can't wait. Oh, another turnover. Here they come. Get a block. Good call. Good call. Never beat him to the spot.
Antoine Jamison, literally, Henderson is complaining. He ran into him, Dick, and knocked Henderson down in the backcourt after the play was over for no reason. And Henderson is going to the officials because they bumped into each other after the 22nd timeout. So a little bad blood there. Timeout, 3:45 left in our game, and it's Carolina up by 4, 39-35. North Carolina enjoying their largest lead of the night, 39-35. 3 minutes and 45 seconds left in our basketball game. Very rapidly done as you look at the percentages. Way down for Princeton, only 39%.
Yeah, exactly. Look at that three-point line. North Carolina 0 for 4 from 3, but 3 for 20 where they live off the 3. In fact, the 3 they utilize more than they do the deuce. I might have given Shammond a little credit earlier. Might have been Eddie Cota on that drive to the goal. Big stop needed here, and they got to come down somehow and get a 3. But they don't get the stop. They don't get the stop. Great two-man execution. Cota to Mr. Carter. He's the Skywalker.
Carter with 11 now, and a 6-point Carolina lead.
If they ever needed a 3, they need one now. But Carolina's done a great job with their defense. Oh, do they need a trifecta, Mr. Franklin? Do they need a trifecta?
Unlucky on the shot as Mustaya couldn't get it to stay. And now Carolina could come down and burn as much of the clock as they want.
They can play like Princeton plays.
That's exactly right.
Clock time. Say, hey guys, you get a little frustrated. We're going to play your style. We're going to show you we can play a little patient. We're going to play with some poise.
Williams drives and scores it.
I'm getting TO, baby. I'm getting TO right now from the Princeton Tigers. Williams so effective on his ability to make the big play. Mustaya had 18 against them last year. There's the 3 again.
And the follow, and the ball is knocked away. And that is the first hoop in a while for Princeton.
That's interference, no question, goaltending.
Dick, if you look at the clock, they only scored 6 points in the last 10 minutes of the first half. They only had 14 until a moment ago. So 20 points in almost 30 minutes.
You know, we got to credit that also. There's the interference. Carter with that tremendous bounce off the floor. Now Princeton going to a little pressure. They were down 16. That Jadwin last year went to pressure and cut it to 3. North Carolina, you got to credit the defensive effort also of North Carolina.
Well, that's the point I'm making. I mean, they held them in a 30-minute period to 22 points is pretty doggone salty.
Yeah, that really is great defense, suffocating defense on the three-point shot.
Mustaya, that's his 4th.
He's saying don't foul, don't foul. There's the calm, cool, and collective. The 3C man. He's calm, cool, and collective, Mr. Guthridge. Mustaya. Harmony, when you look at those numbers, first 35 games, 31-4. Some other guys that were up there after their 35 games, Bill Hodges, who had Larry Bird, and Gary Cunningham. And they're not among the mainstream any longer. Mr. Carmody wants to certainly stay at that mainstream. You want to pick up your dribble. That's a no-no. Princeton really extended defensively now.
Williams with the pump, and he scores it.
I'll tell you, Shammond Williams takes you right to the goal. If they extend on the defensive end, that edge, he's got to go to North Carolina.
18 points for him, and the largest lead of the night for the Tar Heels. 45-37. They're a minute 25 seconds from becoming the new #1 team in America.
What in the nation they will be if they maintain and hold this lead. There's the skip pass, looking for the 3, but North Carolina again doing a great job extending.
Way outside is Earl.
Timeout. Earl knocks it down. They're very intense, very competitive. They really had a look in their eye tonight when they arrived here that we're here to win. We're not here to just enjoy the festivity and say we're playing against a great team. We feel we're an outstanding team.
ESPN's presentation of NCAA basketball is brought to you by Discover Car.
45 45-40. Carolina leads it with 1:09 left to play. Shammond Williams, take a look at this move right here. He's got 12 of North Carolina's 24 second-and-a-half points.
He's got that explosive step to the basket, changes direction really well. Look at the bench reaction. Look at him dancing, standing up, cheering. Michael Brooker standing up there, giving a cheer. Shammond Williams, big plays all year. In fact, last year he was brilliant. He was sensational against Louisville in a grade 8. 22 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists in that game. As you look at the timeout situation here. Princeton, remember, there's 26 in a row they have won in regular season. The only blur on their record to the North Carolina Tar Heels. And that means they'll have 2 L's in the regular season out of 28 games, and not shabby, losing 2 tough ones to one of the premier programs in the United States.
Yep. Plus the fact that foul right there is going to go against Earl. This is going to end their win streak on the road. Princeton had won 14 in a row, as that's 1-1 for Carolina.
Well, Carolina goes to the line, but we were talking earlier, you know, Carolina could be #1 now with Duke losing. But isn't it beautiful, though, in college basketball, a Duke can lose, and it doesn't affect you like it does in football. If it's football and you get that big loss early, your dreams and goals of a national championship are history. But in basketball, they still are alive. And you got to salute that Michigan group, who to me are very similar to North Carolina in that they got 6 outstanding players. And if they focus and play like they did today, they can have a great year under Brian Ellaby, because they got some talent with Traylor and Bastin and Bullock. Bullock can shoot that 3, and Robert Traylor can dominate in the lane. It's sad that Steve Fisher's not on that sideline to coach those kids.
3, not there. Carter comes away with the rebound and the outlet pass. Can Williams catch it? Yes, he does, but he has it blocked as Mustayo got there.
Not really a good play there. You're looking to use time, not getting any more points. There goes the 3 again. Just one of those nights. The 3's not going down. It's Brick City, USA from 3-point land. Not falling, but I'd beware hooking up with them again. They got a date again in the ACC. They got a date with Wake Forest. Here's the story tonight. Look at Princeton from 3-point land. 4 for 25. Well, I'll tell you this, when I do my quick math, 4 for 24 is 1 for 6. 4 for 25 is even worse than that. And when you're 1 for 6, baby, you're shooting like about, what, 14%. I'm pretty good at math. I got some A's. Give me an A, Ron. I want an A in math.
What, you taught a class today. I knew you were good.
Hoopology 401 gave out all A's.
By the way, Dick, another piece for the trivia buffs, another piece of history tonight. Carolina takes over #1. It'll be the 4th time in ACC history that one ACC team will have replaced another as the #1 team in the nation.
Wow. All I know is I went to church tonight, and they were up 17, Duke. And I came back, and the guy picked me up. I said, Duke won by 25. He said they lost. I couldn't believe it. It was unbelievable.
So it was you who said the wrong prayer.
Well, I got a lot of razzle when I walked in here. Everybody thinks I'm a Dookie because I picked the #1, and these fans were all over me. What happened to the Dookies?
Lou Ellis misses, gets his own foul with 7 seconds left, and they'll call timeout. Lou Ellis with 7 points, which is about half what he averages. In fact, it's below that. He leads the team in scoring with 15.5 per game.
What a great year they're going to have at Princeton this year, though. These kids are genuine. They can play. It's not about the fact they just run a system. When you talk Goodrich, Lou Ellis, and Earl, and Henderson, Castallo, they can flat out play. They are good, solid collegians combined with that great team effort. And they represent such a classy university. They really do. When you talk about that university, immediately you think of all the brilliant people that represent our country in so many key positions.
Let's go, Heels. Let's go. Hey, now, bump it up, baby.
He was almost flammable.
I tell you, it's the kind of club, you look at your schedule and you shake. When they come your way and you got to play them, you just can't believe it. And then when you do play them and you get into a battle, it's unreal. But if you get the win, you just go, wow, am I glad they're off the schedule? Am I glad they're not around anymore?
Mustayo fouls out, so he goes to the bench with him. We mentioned just a moment ago.
Well, that's Staggs. I'll tell you, Staggs is a tough competitor. He made my all-blender team. This kid knows how to win. He was a great 6th man last year because they had the MVP, Sidney Johnson, who's now playing in Italy, and all that linguine and rigatoni. We had a great Italian dinner last night. Oh, that was a great Italian dinner.
black ties.
Oh, it was really great down there at the Sienna Hotel. They got a phenomenal restaurant there.
50-42, and for people who pick up the box score tomorrow or look at the story in the papers, say, well, ho-hum, Carolina wins another one, a little low scoring, but they win it nicely as that ball is blocked by Jamison. It is a toughie. They win it by 8 and remain undefeated. And Shammond Williams, what a ball game for him tonight as he finishes the evening with 19 points. So our final score, Carolina 50 and Princeton 42. Carolina goes to 10-0 and Princeton now 7-1. Let's go back to the studio and Larry Beal. Larry.
All right, thanks, guys. An exciting game and closer than a lot of people would have expected. And with that victory, you'd expect that North Carolina will move up to #1 when the poll is released tomorrow, because top-ranked Duke, at least they were top-ranked today. They won't be tomorrow. They fell. We'll have the highlights of that game. Plus, we'll tell you about the Heisman Trophy Award that came down today. A history in the making. We've got extreme bloopers coming up in just a few minutes, then SportsCenter at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. We got lots of highlights to show you between now and then, and we'll show them in just a moment.